Shalom, brothers and sisters. Grace be unto you and peace from Yahuwah the Father and Yahusha the Messiah, his Son. This is Brother David coming to you again to bring you another word. And our word for today is Edom. Brothers and sisters, you have Jacob and you have Esau. These are two brothers. They are twins. Do you know that Esau is the end of the world? That's what your Bible says. And that Jacob is the beginning of that which follows? Did you know that the Father says, Jacob have I loved, and Esau have I hated? Did you know that Esau's name was changed to Edom because of a certain event, which I'll show you later? And that the people of Edom, or the children, the descendants, are the people that the Bible speaks of ultimate destruction. Now, I've heard repeatedly that Esau is the white man. Brothers and sisters, that is not true. It's a fabrication. What is happening here is that because of the hatred that some of us have for the white man, because of what he has done to us in slavery and how he's treated us here for 400 years, it does not mean that you fabricate a story. You have to stick to the text. The Bible does not tell you that Esau was white. It tells you that he was red and hairy all over, just like a garment. Now, the picture of Esau here that I'm showing you is not 100% accurate. Now, if you look at the face, it is perfection. His hair is red and he is red in the face. But his body should be covered with hair. But brothers and sisters, I spent a lot of time looking for a graphic to match this description. And I found something out. That's why they've documented this event, and it was something very strange to the children of Israel when Esau was born. This is not normal to see someone who is red like this and hairy all over their body like a garment. So what we want to do here today is define what color Esau is. Is he white? Or is he red? Do we understand the terminology of red and white? Well, the Bible distinguishes between the two. The only thing you have to do, brothers and sisters, is search it out. You cannot find knowledge unless you search. Stop just listening to people and what they say without your own study. You have to research everything for yourself. You have to go line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. You do not want to be carried away with someone else's agenda. And the agenda most likely is the hatred of the white man. But brothers and sisters, even if you do hate the white man for what he's done, and he deserves it, it still does not mean that you apply whiteness to Esau just to make the white man fit the description that the Bible is giving you of the people of ultimate destruction. We're going to prove in this segment that Esau is definitely not the white man. In our next segment, we're going to prove who the white man is. Then we're going to tell you the story, brothers and sisters, of these two brothers, so that you will see that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of that which follows. Dictionary.com, Edom. 1. A nomadic people descended from Esau. 2. The son of Esau, who was the supposed ancestor of this nation. 3. The ancient kingdom of this people situated between the Dead Sea and the Gulf of Aqaba. 1. Esau, the brother of Jacob. 2. Greek, Idumea, an ancient region between the Dead Sea and the Gulf of Aqaba, bordering ancient Palestine. 3. The kingdom of the Edomites, located in this region. When you look at the map, brothers and sisters, you see the kingdom of Judah in the flesh color, and then directly below it in this green is the kingdom of Edom, where the Edomites were or are, and it's in the Arabian Peninsula. We'll get back to this later. Let's check out the account. Genesis chapter 25, verse 21 to 22. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. Verse 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? Why am I like this? She's saying. And she went to inquire of Yahweh. Brothers and sisters, if you notice something here, that Isaac and Rebekah had direct access to the Father. Verse 23. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. So, brothers and sisters, when you look here at this passage, it tells you that there's going to be 2 nations, 2 separate nations. Remember, one is the end of the world, and the other is the beginning of that which follows. And then he says there's going to be 2 manner of people. Let's look at this word manner. KJV dictionary definition. 1. It's a different form, a different method, a different way of performing or executing. 2. The customs are different. The habitual practices are different. 3. This is a different sort, a totally different kind of person. So when you look at the graphic, brothers and sisters, you see the difference right up straight away. You see Jacob here. You see he was black and beautiful, if you ask me. And then you see the thing that caused everyone to take notice and to pick up the pen to write and document this event down, because when Esau came out, he was different than everyone else. You know, black people really don't have too much body hair. But Esau, now remember, I couldn't find a graphic that would match exactly what Esau looked like, but the facial part is pretty much correct. And you see the red hair. The Bible said he was red and hairy all over, just like a garment, so his whole body was full of hair. Verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. You see, brothers and sisters, Jacob and Esau were twins. 25. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Verse 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. So you see the evidence here, brothers and sisters, is telling you some things. First of all, they were twins. Second of all, Esau came out red and hairy all over his body like a garment, you see. And then they called his name Esau. And then verse 26 is very revealing. His brother came out afterwards. And as they were pulling out Esau, Jacob was holding on to Esau's heel. Isn't that incredible? I guess Jacob says, you're not going to leave me in here, buddy. I'm coming out with you. And then they say he called his name Jacob. Now, I want you to understand something. No description of Jacob was mentioned here. I wonder why they did not do that. Could it be that Jacob was normal? He was a normal black man. He matched the description of all of his peers that were around him. So there was no need to take notice when he was born. But when Esau was born, he came out red and hairy all over, like a garment. Now remember the region in which they fared and the climate. You need melanin. You need to be covered. So when they saw someone who was not quite as dark as they were, and he was red and had this reddish hair, something they'd never seen, and then his whole body was full of hair, they really stood in amazement, and they had to call the whole tribe just to come to see this event. Strong's Concordance, 122, and the word is Edom. It sounds like Edom, right? And the word Edom means red. The phonetic spelling is Odom, and the short definition is red. Let's look at another word. Strong's Concordance, 120, and the word is Edom, and the definition is man or mankind. The phonetic spelling is Adam, and the short definition is man. Strong's Concordance 132, admoni. Admoni is red. Now, this is the word that is used to describe Esau. And ruddy. Transliteration, admoni, phonetic spelling, admoni, and short definition is ruddy, which means red. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 42, check this out. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, that Philistine is Goliath, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of fair countenance. So you see, brothers and sisters, David was youthful, and then it uses the word ruddy. And that ruddy is the same word, admoni, that is used to describe Esau. And then it tells you that he was of fair countenance. He was a very handsome young man. So when you look at the graphic, you see Esau here. He is red. He is hairy. Well, remember, I couldn't get a graphic that had his whole body hairy, but you can see the red hair that's on his head. Now just picture that in your mind, that is all over his body, then it will fit the description that is in the scriptures. Remember, the red that the Father was speaking about, admoni, is an earth tone red, brothers and sisters. It is not the red in the crayon box like we thought. It's an earth tone red. Now, when you look at Esau here, what is the number one thing that pops in your head? If you're a black person, right, you know these terms. Red bone. That's what we would call someone who looks like this. Now look at a different color, red. Remember, David was described as the same as Esau as being ruddy, which means red. It uses the word admoni. And when you see it, you see that earth tone red color that is in his hue, brothers and sisters. So you see David is red and ruddy, and Esau is red and ruddy. Now this looks like two different types of red and ruddy, correct? But remember, the black woman can bring forth every hue in the spectrum. You would still say that Esau is black, just like you would still say David is black. It's just that they have that red earth tone color. Look at Jacob, our patriarch. Now, he was not described, remember, he was not described in the picture on how he looked because he was normal. He looked like most of the people in the region at that time and the people in his tribe. He was black and he was majestic. So what color would you call this? It is not red. This is white and rosy. You see, he has that pinkish hue. For many years, people have told me that, oh, those are white people. And I used to say, well, if a better description is to say that they are pink people, because they're more pink than they are white, right? So this is what you call white with a pinkish hue or rosiness. Now, remember, I didn't create these terms for how they look or how everything else that I've showed you today looks. This is the Europeans showing you exactly what the color spectrum really looks like. All you have to do is study, brothers and sisters, and you can get all of this information for yourself. And then you won't be fooled anymore. You'll know exactly what they are saying. Red versus pink. Now you see David, he is red. He is that earth tone red. And you see Justin Bieber, he is white with a pinkish hue. He is white and rosy. Now let's unveil this word rosy. Do you see the young lady to your left? She has a condition, and this condition is called rosacea. What does rosacea mean? It means that the person has extra rosiness in the face, the hands, or any part of the body. Now, you see this condition mostly in people of European descent. Now, she has extra rosiness, but look at Justin Bieber to your right. He is white also, and he is a normal rosy. You see that rosiness that is in his face? Now, this rosiness that is in Justin Bieber is not considered a condition. It is considered a healthy looking complexion. If you don't believe me, let me show you. Let's look at the definition. Merriam-Webster's. The definition of rosy, rosier, roseous, 1A, of the color of a rose. B, here we go, having a pinkish, usually healthy-looking complexion. So you see, brothers and sisters, they're not white, they are pinkish. And they call it having a healthy-looking complexion. If they are white and pale with no rosiness, no red coming up into the face, it is not a healthy-looking complexion. But once they have this pinkish hue, with the blood coming up in the face, and they have these rosy cheeks, now they consider this as having a healthy looking complexion. They even call it blooming. You know how a rose, it blooms and it opens wide up? So they say this is blooming complexion, and it's marked by blushes. Here's another example. Here's your rose. Here's a young man that's rosy. Now see, don't take that the person is supposed to look like the rose. No, what it's telling you is that when that extra little blush comes up in the cheeks and in the face, and look at the lips, it's a rosy, healthy looking color. So the little Jewish boy here with the red hair, he has white skin and he is rosy. This is what they mean by white and rosy. I want you to remember this. We'll come back to this later in another segment, because you're going to have to see exactly how they are described in the Bible. Here's Justin Bieber. See the rose? And if you look at Justin Bieber, he has a pinkish hue. He's got some makeup on right here to kind of cover it up, but he has a pinkish hue, but the lips tell the story. And he is white and rosy. Now, when you go back to rosacea, remember, if you look at the rose, you look at the face, and you see that extra rosiness in the cheeks, now you see where they got this term from, rosacea, because it's the appearance of a rose, brothers and sisters. Zechariah chapter 1, verse 8. And I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse. And he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom, and behind him were there red horses, speckled and white. So Zechariah was seeing in his vision this. This is what a red horse looks like, brothers and sisters. Not the red in your crayon box. You have to dismiss that. This is the red. It's an earth tone red. And you see that his feet and part of his face is white. And look at his nose. That is what you call rosy, brothers and sisters. Now let's look at the word admoni, which means ruddy or red. And we're going to see what a red horse looks like. Now remember, these descriptions do not come from me. This comes from the Europeans. They're telling you exactly what this red is. So you see the red horse. Now look to your right. You see the red man, the ruddy man, the one that we have described as King David. They are an exact match. Here we have the red horse again. We're still dealing with the same word, admoni, red, ruddy. It describes that red horse there. That's what admoni means, red. But look at the white man. He is not described in the Bible as being red or ruddy. He is described in the Bible as being white and rosy. Strong's Concordance, 127. Adama, phonetic spelling Adama, and short definition is land or ground or land. When you look at the land, brothers and sisters, Adama, you hear the name Adam in there. And it's telling you that Adam was taken from the ground. We know that. The scripture says that the Father took the earth, molded it into clay, blew the breath of life into it, and man became a living soul. So look at the land and look at Adam, or that red man, or we can say also King David, and you see that the land and the man are the same. Let's look at the land and the ground and compare it to the white man who is white and rosy. And you see, you do not have a match here, brothers and sisters. We have an issue, correct? So now you see when the Bible speaks of a person who is admoni or is red, he's talking about that earth tone red. They were never discussing white people when it used the term admoni or red and ruddy. Here you have the depictions that are on the walls in Egypt. You see two types of people here. You see the black man, Jacob. He is depicted. You see the red man, David, Esau. It's depicted, brothers and sisters. They're showing you exactly what the hues are that we have as a people. We are more different and diverse than any other people in the world. Out of that black woman's womb comes every color spectrum in the world. Admoni again, red and ruddy. Look at the red heifer. Now this is the animal that was raised just for the sacrifices in the temple. But look at Edom, or David, or the red man, or the one who identifies and looks exactly like the red horse, or the one who looks like the ground or the land. But look now, he also is identical to the red heifer. Now remember, we did not create these terms. We did not create the color spectrum. We were brought here as slaves. Everything that we have learned, we've learned from the Europeans. So what we're doing here is just parroting exactly what they have in their books and what they describe as the color red. Now let's look at the so-called white man. Remember, he is white and rosy. He has a pinkish hue. And look at the red heifer. They do not match. Look at Esau. He is red and hairy all over. And look at the red heifer. You still have a match. His hue still falls in line with admoni, which is red and ruddy. So the translators of the scriptures were correct. They got this thing down packed. Esau was not the white man. The white man is not described as Esau. He is someone else. Now this is the white Jewish boy. You see his hair matches the red heifer perfectly. But what about his face? He is white and he is rosy. Remember, I showed you what rosacea looks like. We use their own clinical term to describe what white people look like. This is not how Esau is described. He is not described as white and rosy. The Bible describes him as red and hairy all over, just like a garment. So if you look at these red heifers here, they're red and they're hairy all over. That's what Esau looked like, brothers and sisters. He was not the white man. Laban, white. Continue to part 2.